Welcome back to today's discussion on diversity and inclusion. Our next GLVC panelist is Michael Bazemore with Truman State University. And Michael is going to speak with us today on the importance of hiring a diverse staff and why that is so critical to retain and recruit underrepresented groups. Michael?
First, I'd like to say thank you for having us today and allowing us to, share our story. And I wanted to start kind of with my why,
Sure.
Why I got into athletic administration. And so I was kind of at a crossroads in my life. I was went from Philadelphia, Montana, went from Philadelphia, moved to Billings, Montana. And so I went from a very diverse city to, as you can imagine, going to Billings, Montana. It wasn't diverse. And so I was playing arena football while I went to Billings, Montana. And so when I transitioned into thinking about what I wanted to do, I came across the athletic director's position and figured, given my experience and my background, I figured that'd be something that I can excel in. I just had to figure out, how do I get the necessary skills, to wear that hat. And so when I did some research in terms of, the landscape of the NCAA, I realized that there wasn't a lot of individuals, a minority, that held those athletic director positions and whatnot. So through my graduate school, I actually I wrote my thesis on, the student athlete experience and just kind of, bridge that to, how it's very important that we need to make sure that our administration, mirrors the student athlete population and whatnot. So for me, my motto is to inspire through sport, and everything I do, I always have inspirational to act through it. So even if in my work through the community and as a volunteer coach and whatnot, and it's not only important that the minority student athletes we have on campus see someone such as myself in that administration role. It's equally important from other individuals from other other backgrounds to see someone such as myself, because they may have misconceptions. They may not know, and so they can ask me, and I'm very open-minded. I let them know. You can come to me for anything outside of us work. To make sure that I'm being to service of them and make sure I'm giving back to the student athlete experience as best I can.
That's great. So in terms of recruiting diverse candidates, what are some strategies you could share with athletic administrators today?
Just make sure you recognize, the landscape of your staff. Make sure that you're being intentional. Number one, you want to have the most qualified individual, but do not shy away from minority individuals that may not come from that area. They may just be looking for a way to break into the field. So maybe they may not have, all 10 of your requirements, maybe they have 8 out of 10. And maybe they're open-minded to come to, a smaller city and to, to gain those skills that they need to, to be in this career field and whatnot. So yeah, you can also reach out to your colleagues, ask them if they have any up-and-comers, that are, willing to, move to a smaller community and things of that nature.
Okay. As it relates to candidates from underrepresented groups, what would be your advice to them in terms of assessing fit and whether or not it is a good place to land as it relates to their career?
I would say just have an open mind. I would say make sure you do your research in terms of, there are a lot of things that come with a smaller community, such as, you're going to be a big fish in a small pond, so to speak, and just be ready for that and always be mindful of the things that that you say and things that you wear and things of that nature and whatnot. And I've helped several of my friends, break into the collegiate administration field, and just kind of anything that any help I can do from that point on. I always am cognizant of that and make sure that I'm building up my own team for when one day I will be in that particular chair, and just letting them know that you may not get paid as high as you would like to get paid, but also is willing that and letting you know that the work that you put in at the ground level is going to be valuable for when you do, break into the particular seat that you want to be in.
Any specific networks or organizations you would encourage people of color to join in terms of finding that building those relationships to then break into the field?
Yes, definitely. One that I'm a part of is the Minority Opportunities Athletic Association, known as MOA. And also, you definitely want to be a member of your professional organization. I'm a member of NACDA and NACDA as well. And so just making sure that, you're doing your due diligence to make sure that you're branching outside of your institution, because on a day-to-day basis you can be so, so isolated because you have a lot of work to do, but you have to be cognizant that, you know, you are branching out, you're serving on different committees and things of that nature, so that you are broadening your sort of network and your landscape.
Wonderful. In terms of that student-athlete experience, can you speak a bit more about that, how important it is for them to see people of color as a student-athlete and person of color in those leadership roles, and how does that impact their student-athlete experience?
One thing I always get in terms of my first meeting of certain student-athletes, they always, you know, assume I'm a coach and whatnot, so, you know, that lets me know that, you know, they're not used to seeing, you know, African-American males in these different positions, so it lets them know that, you know, the world is bigger than just being a player, than just being a coach. You know, you can be an administrator, and so then that opens their mind to just other possibilities, and staying within, you know, the sport, you know, that they love, put so much time into, that, you know, there's other avenues to and whatnot.
How, maybe in your own experience, how have you mentored maybe those student athletes to think about careers in athletics administration and continuing that path?
One particular thing I've done, I've been one of the facilitators at the Career and Sports Forum at the NCAA, and so I'm trying to bring that that information, you know, that system to Truman State University, and so, you know, just some things that, you know, I'm very big on student-athlete development, you know, making sure that they get all of the skills outside of academics, outside of the playing surface, to, you know, make sure that we touch on, you know, into those transferable skills and whatnot. So.
Okay. Any closing remarks in terms of your experience?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you again for your time today.